So we've all woken up to this screen before. Hello YouTube, this is Mars and welcome back to another Conan Exiles video. Today I want to talk about recovering from a raid. Now this pertains to everyone who is solo, duo, small clan to large clan. The tips I will provide will pretty much help you recover from a serious raid. This specific raid on me was I was offline while some clanmates that I met along the way were online, and somehow they found my base. The enemies found my base. So this video will be kind of short, and a lot of the footage will be somewhat old because I've been meaning to make this video a while ago. I just never did. So one of the main things is, for starting out, you pretty much have to salvage whatever you have left. Since I had my own base, since I was solo before I met my clanmates, I kind of just lived in my base. I went to salvage whatever I could, and this is pretty much how it played out. I noticed the bottom was still there, so I probably had a few crafting stations left. And let's wait to see what happens when I get up there. So as I approach the ruins of what was once my little hovel, my little slice of heaven, I have a few crafting stations left, but for the most part I kind of expected to get raided eventually. I was rarely online a majority of the time, and when I was online I had to be wary of who was around. So this is fine, since this is a populated area. I kind of expected to get raided, and it took some of the heat off my guys because I got raided, which was good. Gave them a little extra time to figure out what they needed to do. So I just picked up everything and I got ready to leave, and eventually I salvaged what was left of the base. But I had already prepared for this. Since I'm a veteran player, I knew what was going to happen and I was completely prepared for it. I have multiple stash. I had about 2 to 3 stash points in an additional base on this server that I already owned. This stash point next to the base, I had pretty much everything in it I needed to make at least I had enough resources to make at least 3 to 4 more bases, weapons, dragon powder, and arrows. So I was already prepared for that. I already knew it was going to happen because it already had happened, and I was already prepared for it then. You have to be able to prepare for those sort of situations, and you can't really whine about any of those situations when they happen. So here is a clip from another game. This is to tell you that you should probably do something else with your time if this happened, because most people are going to get frustrated. There's no point in sticking with something that frustrates you, especially if you like it. If you like that sort of kind of game, try to play something else or do something else with your time that's more valuable. Get a new skill, or work on something that you've been meaning to work on. You don't want to focus so heavily on something as to where it's not beneficial to help you, because if after you get raided, you're pretty much rebuilding your life. So I'd suggest take time away from the game to decide if you actually want to keep playing for now, because I mean, you don't have to stay. You can go take a break and do something else, because I mean, it's better not to get frustrated about that sort of thing. That's what I felt. I mean, I've lost so much equipment along the line. There's no purpose in trying to get frustrated. Oh, I lost everything I owned. My base got completely destroyed by some server wiper guys. Yeah, that shit happens. But if you prepare, or if you're not prepared, that shit just happens, and you don't have to just commit to it just for the sake of committing to it. So I'm wait for the gameplay to play out. Go on to the next thing. Now, if you do decide to stay, you need to be scavenging, you need to be scouting, you need to be moving around everywhere to try and figure out what needs to be done, because you need to understand that you can't go make war with your enemies, especially if they're numerous and they just completely wiped you, because at this point they're not going to hit you twice unless they were actually looking for you. So my initial goal here is to show that you should scavenge for whatever you can, even if it's a little bit. Farming is important, but scouting and salvaging is much more important, because I mean, even if you farm, you don't really have a place to stay. You have to find a location that's suitable for you, and that's close to certain resources, but not close to people who will probably blow you up again. Another thing is have a backup plan. It's always wise to have a secondary or third plan in most scenarios, especially if you're solo or duo and you're committed. If you're duo and committed, you're kind of in a much better place. Like you have much more time to work on stuff. Especially if both of you are very concise about your planning, it makes it very easy to get stuff together. And if you do actually decide to do something about being rated by whoever rated you, you'll be in a much better place to actually do something about it if you're a duo. Solo, it's very difficult, especially if you got rated by a clan while you were offline. It's You can possibly recover and possibly do something about it, but I'd suggest not. It'd be better not to, especially if they know what they're doing. Now here, if you find a location and you're recovering, this is the kind of the work hard portion. Like you need to work hard as possible to make sure that you don't get raided again. Build up your plans and figure out what needs to be done. And this last part is once you figured all that out, at that point you just survive and thrive. You just do whatever you want, man. You pretty much dealt with the issue at hand. Like if you can completely recover from a serious raid like I was in, then a serious wiping like I was in, then you can pretty much survive most situations. It's pretty much however you prepare for these situations really dictates how well you do. So that was my guide on recovering after a raid. I want to say thanks again for watching and keep slaying, guys. Here's a little party banter between me and my man Trimble. Have a good one.
Yeah. Well, I'm a progressive type parent, you know, like extended curfew type shit, trying to understand the cool lingo, you know, like dank kush and whatnot.
Okay, for the top floor, I'm thinking, like the very top, like the ceiling. I'm feeling like I make it an open space with a shit ton of thralls on top of it.
That's fine, but there's one thing I want to restrict on that. They all need to be dancer thralls, and they all need to be topless, and that's where my bed's gonna be.
That's a meme in itself. I actually like that idea. I'm kind of on board. I don't want to admit it, but I'm kind of on board.